Hey folks, my name is Pravus. Welcome back to more Farthest Frontier. We're playing at the maximum difficulty in Triton, and I hope you all had a very, very Merry Christmas. So, despite the fact that we have continued to struggle for survival in this town, I do think we made some tremendous progress as of the last video for a few reasons. First off, we've started with trade, and now trade is going to be our lifeblood. That is how we have gotten access to a handful of resources that otherwise were inaccessible. Clay comes to mind. So as long as we can continue relying on that, we're going to be in really good shape. To that extent, the most important thing I can be doing right now probably is finding ways to increase my wealth. Now, originally my plan was we need to get to tier 3 as fast as possible because that used to be the technology where you get access to things like a foundry. A foundry could be used to take the gold ore and start converting it directly into wealth, instead of having to sell it off every single time. That is no longer the case, though, I've discovered. If we go to technology over here, the foundry tech is actually right here. So we could access this at tier 2 if we wanted to. Now, I don't think it's tremendously efficient. The amount of money I can get from selling the ore and the coal required to make this is about the same as the gold that I would be able to get. So I don't think this is necessarily the highest of priorities right now, but once it starts getting upgraded into a smeltery, that's when our efficiency really takes a boost. The only problem is I don't know what tier I need to be at to get a smeltery. It used to be tier 4, it might now be tier 3 since everything seems to have been bumped down a little bit, so I don't know, still might be very, very worth it to get to tier 3. If I can get to a point where I'm really producing far more wealth out of my gold ores, we're gonna be fine, because I am surrounded by gold ore. I have tens of thousands of gold ore sitting around. So that's going to be my key to victory. But to get to tier 3, our biggest issue is going to be getting population. And for population, I need, you guessed it, food. The number one thing we have continued to struggle with for pretty much ever. What I have done is come back to these fields and said, all right, let's go ahead and actually start working some beans into my crop rotation. It's not going to be an absolute ton of food, but it is going to be a little bit better. Some food is better than no food, am I right? And the only real downside here is that your beans do not give you as much fertility as clover. Beans do increase the soil fertility, just a tiny little bit. So given time, this will continue to improve. But yeah, I mean, the clover obviously will be a lot faster. I have had some people, by the way, recommend, why don't you do peas instead of beans? Because they grow faster and aren't as fertility dependent. It's a very good thought. The only problem is they have no heat tolerance. And we are in the arid highlands. That's why I have opted for the beans. So anyway, we'll start growing some of this stuff now, making sure that it's as good to the growing season as is possible. But it's most assuredly not going to be enough. So to that extent, what other options do we have? Well, one would be to invest some technology points in unlocking the barn. With a barn, I'll be able to start trading for chickens, goats, or for cattle at the trading post. Otherwise, they won't sell it to you. Animals can be pretty good for us for a lot of different reasons. I mean, it does take a few workers, but it gets a pretty good amount of meat and other byproducts, whether that be eggs or milk or hides or tallow, all good stuff. Plus, they do improve the fertility of a region, and I believe you even can gather up their manure to put into the compost yard, and with the extra compost, you'll be able to start boosting up the fertility of your farms, which would go a very long way for us right about now, so I'm kind of thinking that wouldn't be a bad idea. The other alternative would be to get things like some fruit trees growing, since we now have access to the arborist building, since I do have some clay in my stockpile, so we could place this down. Wait a minute, hold on, what? Hold on. This is the fertility of my trees? What's with all these suspiciously squarish patterns everywhere? What's happening here? Does something break with all my farms? No. Normal farms still show the normal fertility. Well, I frickin' have no idea. Okay, I'm confused, but fine. I'll take advantage of this if this is what it's gonna be. The other thing that could really sink us right now is obviously going to be raiders, because we did get a notice toward the end of the last video that the raiders are now gonna be bringing siege weapons. I am going to be building up a couple extra defensive towers in a few spots just to try to ward that off, though I don't expect them to have a huge impact. One thing we could do, I suppose, is consider building up a barracks. It's a little on the expensive side, but I mean, it does function, I think, also kind of like a series of towers. We could place down a vault nearby here. This would be okay, I suppose. And then we would be able to start training up some proper soldiers. Not that I think those soldiers can do a whole lot, mind you. I don't have like a lot of weapons or a way of making good armor, but it's a thought. So I'll just go ahead and build it up. Why not? Let's be ready. Yeah, see, here's a case right now. I could sell some gold ore for about 12 wealth. That's it. That's all I can get out of this right now. That is not a ton of wealth, but it is some. I'm pretty sure right now, if I got the technology for the Foundry, I would be able to make about 20 wealth per gold ore, which is an improvement that you have to factor in also the cost of things like the coal, which is worth only a small amount as well, 5, so 17, 20. It's a small improvement, not a huge efficiency boost. Still, it's something I can do, and it doesn't rely on trading in order to make it work. The only downside is I'm pretty sure I need one piece of heavy equipment, which we can afford to buy, so I will. Arborist is set up. Let's go ahead and plant down some trees in these areas. Some apples, some peaches, some pears. The only problem with these, of course, is the maturation rate is very, very, very slow. So we're not going to see a return on investment from this for a while, but, I mean, still totally worth it. Just, you know, eventually. It's all about a waiting game. But how is that different from what I'm doing with the farms over here? Answer, not that much. Not that different at all. By the way, it looks like we are going to have some compost delivered over here next year. And this is great, because as I've been building up all this manure here, this is where the compost yard becomes very useful. So now we'll have a way of boosting up that fertility a lot faster than the dang clover can handle. First knowledge point is generated. So, do we go for the barns? Or do I go for the foundry to start? Or do I just go for things like, hey, let's boost up our research speed by 15%? Which is tempting, very tempting, but, I think we'll go ahead and pick up the foundry. Reason being, I need wealth in order to buy animals in the first place, right? So if we do this, maybe I can start getting just a little extra wealth out of the arrangement. Place a foundry out over here, far away from all of the housing. And I probably want to stop sending all of my gold ore over here. So we're going to stop that entirely for a moment. Transfer all of that gold to the stockyard, which is just across the way. I might even want to consider placing down another stockyard just to store gold ore. May not be the worst idea I've ever had. Got diseases spreading like crazy amongst my people, as well as some of my crops over here. As we can see, the fields are infected. Powdery mildew. This is why, by the way, you generally want to set up your crop rotations in a way that your fields are never touching the same crop. So over here, for example, I'm growing beans, but in the two adjacent, I'm going to be growing clover, and so on and so forth. So they'll never make direct contact, thereby you're not going to spread the disease around too much. It still can, I think it just reduces it by a little bit. Alright, so Foundry is set up. Really easy transport back and forth of resources is no problem at all. So yeah, 5 gold, 5 coal becomes 100 golden ingots. So again, that's about 17, 18 value becoming 20 value per gold/coal combo. Is it amazing? No. Is it something? Yes. And I'll take it. Another knowledge generated. I think I'll just go ahead and pick up the barn now. I know I want to get these tech points and all, but this at least lets me get started on some of this stuff. So let's go to food production and think through how we're going to get some animals. So we have chicken coops, which are usually very cheap. Can get ourselves lots of eggs and meat, but that's kind of it, I think. There's no other secondary products. Goats would be a good way of getting myself a decent amount of food, as well as the milk, the tallow, and the hides. But cattle are by a long shot the best. You get the most meat, the most milk, the most hides and tallow out of having a big barn. But if I recall, cattle cost like 1,000 gold each. So, like, it's gonna be expensive. It's gonna be real expensive, but it would solve a lot of problems, wouldn't it? So I think we're gonna try to commit for that. So not sure when we're gonna get our next round of raiders, by the way. Very wary of the fact they're supposed to have some sort of battering rams or other siege engines around with them now. It's not great for me. I don't know that they're, like, guaranteed to bring that along, but the fact that they can is enough to be scary. New merchant has arrived. And their plains rider. Oh, this is the guy that has the cattle. And they're on sale. Oh, I want this. He's also got goats if I wanted to load up on those. But no, I want cows. Well, the cows are cheap. Give me the cows. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, no, no. You sons of... Oh my god. Okay, you know what just happened here? I'm building the barn. It's prioritized. Going as fast as I can. I just ran out of planks. I'm 2 planks away from having this thing built. They're literally on the way to transfer it right now, and the guy said, all right, bye, and left. I hate my life. You know, there are times when I just, you know, you have to sit back and say, maybe, just maybe, life is not actually worth living, and this is one of those moments. My God. Seconds away. Let's try again to get some cows. Oh, they cost 1,000 now. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. Whatever, it's a price we're gonna have to pay. I'm hoping just getting a couple of cows will eventually result in me maybe having a few births. That'd be good. In the meantime, we are teetering on the brink of starvation over here. There is no food pretty much at all to go around, because the population grew a little bit too rapidly, and I have not been able to squeeze more out of the land here, because there's just not that much more to have. I also slightly mismanaged how I was going to handle these cows. They're doing okay at the moment because I've got them out here grazing, but they don't have any winter feed stock at all. That's another good reason, I suppose, that we are growing things like some beans. I believe that does count as something they can eat. I did place an extra crop field over here that we have to weed, so I can eventually start getting some hay. Winter feedstock's gonna be kind of important. We do not want our cows dying in the middle of the winter. That would be embarrassing. Oh, and I think we have a raid on the way. Okay. I'm gonna buy a handful of crude weapons. I don't know that they're gonna do me a lot of good, to be honest. They suck, but I'll take what I can get. Okay, so what do we have to deal with here? Well, looks like the enemy is coming in with a battering ram. And a lot of warriors, oh my God, look how many there are. That's a lot, that's a lot, that's a lot. Well, here's hoping my soldiers and towers can do literally anything. I don't even know what you guys are going after. You're just going after the towers there? Oh, that's so annoying. All right, hunters, shoot them, as many as you can. That tower is going down, holy crud. Okay. Can we just, like, kill enough of them to get them to want to retreat or anything? Is that an option? I don't even know how we're supposed to kill this battering ram. It's kind of resistant to my arrows. They're trying to destroy my trading post, which is annoying. They managed to steal a whole chunk of money. How dare you? Get in there, guys. Kill him. Screw it. Send every citizen I have. Punch him to death. Get him. Yeah. Okay, whatever this guy is here, this Raider shield breaker, bearer, sorry, he has a stupid amount of armor. I tried to shoot him just now with so many arrows and it did nothing. Whatever, run him out of town, run them out. Got a lot of really angry townsfolk literally just beating on this thing with their fists, which is hilarious, but they're all heading toward a raiding camp, so we're not gonna be able to keep this chase up for much longer. All right, they get away, they get away. First time the raiders actually managed to steal something from me. We made them hurt for it, but yeah. That wasn't good enough. And of course we lost a tower, which is expensive. This isn't really a surprise, it just sucks. 23 raiders and we only managed to kill 8. I feel like I killed more than 8. Call me crazy, but I feel like I did. Whatever, sorry traders, you had to see that. Where were we? Anything worth buying and selling here? No? Well then get out of here, you suck. Okay, the vault is now built. This thing has 4,000 HP in it, so it's a lot harder to break down, unless, of course, the enemy does bring a lot of battering rams, which they're doing, but I mean, like, okay. But we've got it surrounded by a handful of towers, barracks, and so on. So, in theory, we can sort of kind of defend it, as long as they get stuck here long enough. I don't know that it's gonna work as well as I want it to, but I mean, like, what can you do? Oh my gosh, cheap cows! Cheap cows! Look, if you're gonna practically give away cows, I'm gonna buy a bunch of them, all right? I don't even care, man. I'll buy a whole load of cows. Yes! This is huge, honestly. Now I'm gonna be able to get about 1 birth per year, which will hopefully be able to boost up even further as time goes on, but that means I could, in theory, at some point start butchering 1 or 2 per year, which again is worth a pretty hefty chunk of extra meat, not to mention we've greatly increased the amount of milk that I'm able to produce. Food sources. And how's the maturation on our trees looking? Getting there, 18%. Peach trees grow fast. That I did not know. So we'll start getting ourselves a bit of extra food that way soon. Now, if you haven't been paying attention on the numbers on the top, population has been growing. We're up to 120, but I need to get up to 200. 200! Not alone can stack up like 3,000 more gold. That at least should be relatively easy, but 200 pops. We're filling up houses pretty well, but like my market can only handle so much more. I think we're gonna have to start plotting out a second neighborhood pretty soon. If that is the case, probably should focus on staying close to the water sources, so it's going to have to be up in this general area So yeah, might be time to think about placing down another market somewhere over here. And raiders are approaching again. Oh, God. What happened to you guys waiting like 5 years in between raids? This one came by pretty quickly. Answer, they realized there's blood in the water. They could tell that there was a whole load of gold to pick up, because I got some last time, 500 to be precise. So now they're thinking, oh, I bet they're easy pickings. We could take them on. Great. 20 raiders I know of so far. It's probably a lot more than that. And oh, look, they got another battering ram. All right, can I recruit somebody here? We could get some light infantry. Yeah, it costs a bit, but like, might be worth trying to have some dedicated infantry to run these guys down, do you think? The thing is, I'm trying to remember, I feel like a long time ago we tried messing around with soldiers and found them to be lackluster and a half, is probably the best thing I can say about them. I feel like the infantry were worthless and the archers and stuff could be a bit of a problem, but we'll see, we'll see. Go ahead and shoot them all dead. They got no battering ram over here, so this one should be easy, right? Just kill them all. What is this? We got one person being a hero over here. Okay, you, Mr. Hunter, are a fool and have run directly into the lion's den, and you are going to die as a result, almost certainly. There you go. What are my people doing? What is the point of having the town bell ringing, alarm, alarm, you're all gonna die? And then they just run straight into it. Whatever, I've got a handful of soldiers ready to do something. Why are you beating on my market? My market does not have much over here. I really don't know what you think you're going to gain out of this. Whatever, soldiers, go and destroy this ram. My God, it is still really hard to kill. Come on, surely we can kill enough of you guys that you want to retreat, right? Like, you don't have a lot left. Their arrows are flying in every which way. They're barely able to take a whack at anything before they all die. Like, come on, come on, come on. There goes the ram. You should be able to salvage something out of a ram. You should. It only seems appropriate. Anyway, I think they're all dead. Okay, what ended up happening here? They got nothing. We lost 2 villagers, the ones who ran to their deaths, and we killed 19 out of 20 raiders. Hey, that worked better. I'm gonna keep some of these soldiers on retainer. Sure, it costs a lot of money and stuff like that, but I mean, like, I don't know. That actually seemed reasonably okay. How are we doing as far as other food generation? Let's take a look here. So barn last year produced 410 milk, okay. Arborist produced about 410 fruit, even though not everything has fully reached maturity yet. Oh, that's a very good sign. Yeah, fruit trees. Surprisingly pretty consistent method of making some good food here. 2 workers in total, 410 food. That is better than the 1 worker that's making like 180. Huh. Fruit might be the way to go, guys. If I can find more spots for arborists, I think that's a worthwhile investment. And for once, I've actually got a small surplus of food. Oh, that feels good. That feels really good. Population's grown up to 138. Just got to keep building out this new neighborhood area, which is almost immediately being upgraded to homesteads, by the way, which is good. That's even more capacity here. Yeah, I think that so far, actually, this is looking okay. As long as we can keep up with our food, the population growth rate is looking pretty reasonable here. Officially getting maxed out on the number of cows that we can have in this barn, by the way, at least until we get an upgrade. So from here on out, every birth is going to result in the oldest cow getting slaughtered. So now we're going to start seeing a bigger return on investment than we had before. And our knowledge points really are coming in faster and faster. So now I've got animal rearing here at 20%. That's looking great. Tree regrowth rate, Forester camp, that would solve some issues. Disease resistance, more yields. Tempting, very tempting. And of course, there's the compost we know we want. Honey and wax production, carrying capacity, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's worth going for glass yet because it is still a tier 3 structure just to build. So unless something is weird here and I actually can build this at tier 2, I'm going to assume that's not actually an option. Woodworking would get me a lot of extra planks. Like a lot. We'd have to start using heavy machinery for that, though. So I don't know that that's quite what I want. Faster production of gold and iron is tempting. But I think it still comes down to the dang food, man. I think it does. So I am going to boost up the occupancy at compost yards so that we are able to produce more of it and fertilize faster. There's plenty of waste to be collected, all right? I read a book about this. Everybody poops. Gotta do something with that. Okay, so we had our first cow slaughter. What do we get out of that? It looks like about 341 meat. Am I reading that correctly? It's kind of hard to see from here. I think that's a 3. 12 hides, 21 tallow. Not bad. Not bad from just one kill. Now, granted, we're only getting one of these per year, but again, that's going in the 300 to 400 food for 2 workers category, which isn't that far off from what we're able to get out of things like arborists right now, and still on par, if not better, than a lot of what we're getting over here in the fields. Another round of raiders on the way today. All right, how many raiders do we think we're going to have to deal with this time? Probably still a lot. 28 raiders. Oh my gosh, that is quite the warband. Okay, they are trying to murderfy the crud out of my hunters. Turns out, hunters probably no longer good enough to survive in this day and age. Let's pull back so that they hopefully get distracted on things like towers and stuff like that, so that I can then just get free shots off at them. That would be a far better situation, I think. Well, let's see what happens here. My infantry are running forward. My hunters are hopefully not going to die. The archers are in a bad spot. Pull back, fool. Why are you running to the front? You're a ranged unit. You're a glass cannon. That said, I don't know. Looks like my units are doing a halfway decent job. Somebody's on the verge of death. How do I get you out of here? This light infantry is dead. All right, I was going to say he needs to pull back, but that didn't work out so well. They seem to really want to attack this market nowadays. There's not much here. It's only a little bit of food. I mean, really, I thought you guys only cared about things like money. My infantry are getting murderfied, by the way. Absolutely murderfied. Part of the issue is I don't have any shields. Really need shields for them to be effective, otherwise they are, well, pretty weak. Anyway, that seems to have dealt with that. We killed most of the raiders. We only lost some meat, but losing 2 villagers. Now that sucks. Knowing that's been an issue, would it be worth swapping some of my tech points over to upgrading my military, soldier training, more damage and armor, the armory, blacksmith wouldn't be bad, more veterancy rates, my soldiers are more effective, reduced upkeep for guards and soldiers, cavalry, yeah. A lot of this could be pretty good for me. What does it take to get shields, though? That's the thing. How do I manufacture those? I think that's at the armory itself. Yes, okay. So if I actually want to get max value, then probably I should just go ahead and unlock that armory. Then we can worry about getting our soldiers to be more effective. The raids are a huge issue. The food is a huge issue. The 2 only real threats in the game. Now, I will say the fact that we have 150 pops and I'm still barely treading water when it comes to food is a good sign. It means that we are indeed increasing our food capacity enough that we're able to sustain a large population without completely death spiraling, but we are constantly just hovering on the brink of death. Let's go ahead and get that armory built up. I'd like to start manufacturing myself some shields. I do have pretty decent iron production right now, so getting even the hauberks is not impossible. Though, I don't know if light infantry uses that. They just use hide coats. So that doesn't actually do me a lot of good right now. Just get myself some shields and stuff like that for now. That'd be fine. Bit by bit, we are starting to see improvements in all the areas we talked about before. Fertility and such, for example. We're up to 63% over here now. And I'll tell you why it's working. It's really because of the compost. That's it. That's really what's doing it here. The clovers are far too slow. But bit by little bit, they're maintaining the fertility. The compost gets spread all over the place, and nutrition seeps into the soil. Okay, I think getting the cows was one of the best things that I could have done, bar none. And amazingly, we finally seem to have hit that point in the game where even though I am maintaining a small standing militia, and I have to have the doctor running year-round and blah, 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 we're still making enough money in taxes that we are able to turn a nice, tidy profit. So in addition to all of the smelting and the gold printing I'm doing now, we're actually making just some money per year. So as long as this trend continues, I think we're going to see ourselves getting richer and richer and richer until eventually we shall own this world. Or maybe that's a little dramatic, but hopefully you get the point. You know one thing that's weird that I have observed? It feels like predators are attacking way more often all of a sudden. Like, I didn't have this happening as many in the last couple of recording sessions, and yet these dang bears, dude, they've gotten really bold. Ugh, another round of raiders. I'm so tantalizingly close to the 200 pops that I need. Stop attacking me. Just let me get my tier 3, dang it. Then I'll be worth so much more. Whatever, it's fine. Let's go ahead and finish up this company, all right? We'll get a couple more archers. We'll get 4 more light infantry. That should be a full task force of 12, assuming we can actually arm everyone. What What do we have to work with here? Cavalry! Uh-oh. Wait a minute, they got the fast movers! This is where you really wish you had walls! Uh-oh. Oh, no. This is unironically actually very, very dangerous for me. Well, let's see what my infantry are able to do here, and if we can actually kill off some of these cavalry with all their copious amounts of hit points. Those horses are behemoths, by the way. What on earth am I looking at here? Oh, good gravy. Yeah, they are going to shred through my archers here, unfortunately, if we're not careful. I would like to pull everyone back to my defensive line of towers, please. Got a bad feeling this isn't going to go very, very well for me, but let's just see if the towers can lay down a little bit of covering fire, please. Gosh, stop targeting my archers, though, for God's sake. Why are you guys targeting the right units? I know those are my primary DPS. Stop it! Their archers are all targeting my archers, too. Okay, what this means is I need my own cavalry. That's what I've come to the conclusion of. I need cavalry so that I can counter-strike their archers. Good news is the light infantry are surviving reasonably well considering. Just a small amount of micro here, but as long as we've got defensive towers doing their job, we're fine. Seriously, stop sniping my archers! Good God! Insufferable, the lot of them, for real. All right, that's the last ones, right? Last ones? Think so. This last guy's retreating. Okay, so we lost no villagers, but I did lose a couple of soldiers. Unless I only got knocked down, which would be great if that were the case, but I don't think so. They got absolutely nothing out of this arrangement. Nothing at all. Yes, return home in shame. Oh, what do you know, by the way? I don't think any of my soldiers actually did die. I think they just got knocked down, for real. Oh, well, sweet, I didn't lose anybody. 14 people have arrived. Yes! All right, that's my 200. I got 200! Ladies and gentlemen, that means we finally get to move up to Tier 3. Oh, I've been waiting for this moment for so very, very long, but we're gonna get there. Okay. This is, in theory, where I really start to pop off. I mean, it's not gonna be easy even so, don't get me wrong, but a load more resources are about to become available to us. Furniture, breweries, brickyards, if we want to keep importing all of the clay, stables if we'd like to get our own horsemen, which we now would like to, but also glass. I can turn this into a city of glass and iron, right? That'll become like our primary export. We just start making all sorts of different like weapons and armors and stuff like that, loads of glassware, and then print our own gold. We're gonna become a very, very rich civilization, but entirely dependent on trade, because otherwise I don't think I'm ever gonna have enough food, and I don't think I'm ever gonna have enough clay and other key resources. Anyway, this is about to be done. Boom! Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, it's so good! All right, getting to Tier 4. That's a bit of a loftier goal, just a bit. We need to double our population, have Tier 3 large housing built up, a theater, upgrade the trading center, no problem, lots of money, and of course all of those bricks. We also get a couple more technology points that I can invest. What would make sense here now? I guess we actually can just go ahead and go for the glass blowing. And then canning for preserving? Tempting, actually. Very tempting. But I think we're going to need things like woodworking so I can start getting bigger sawmills. Stuff like that. Like lots and lots of construction projects are about to occur, I am sure. Let's see. Steel tools, all that'd be good. Smithing would be very nice. Then we can actually start making tools. I actually need tools quite badly, though. Tell you what, let's go for the glass and let's go for the smithing techs first. We'll pick those suckers up. Tools are needed for so many of my industrial buildings, and that's only going to get worse. Not having them is going to become a major problem for me, so we'll go ahead and solve that so I can stop importing all of it. If anything, I could start exporting tools, and that wouldn't be so bad. And I'm kind of envisioning we're going to have to place down additional foundries and then a whole mess of glass smelters, and we're just going to start churning out all of the refined goods extracted from the earth. And if we can do that, maybe, just maybe, we can turn this place into a metropolitan paradise that is armed to the teeth. Also, I'd like to build a temple. I think it's about time that we actually consider building one of these things so I can start activating relics. We've had one taunting me over here for a very long time. It could be game-changing, so I'd like to see what we have to offer. It's going to take me a long time to get to my final vision, but that's okay. This is solid, tangible progress. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, I would ask that you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.